Hey, what's ready? Welcome back to News Dose, and it's going to be a major week for gaming. We have some big showcases to look forward to, a ton of game announcements, and even the Switch 2 launch. So, just fun times ahead, and as always, I'll be here with you every step of the way with new updates, which includes some pre-hype. Various high-profile games were teased today, two of which I'm personally very optimistic about. It's always hard to tell anymore if they'll truly deliver, but the names alone are exciting in their own right. So we'll get into those, as well as a controversial story around Microsoft and Activision's latest move for the Call of Duty series. Before we get started, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do, and you will receive this video through early access. Let's go and get right into things, though, starting off with a very frustrating story for a lot of people who were previously looking forward to playing the Switch 2 later this week. Over the weekend, various reports emerged that customers were receiving notifications about a pre-order cancellation. Now, this mostly seems to be impacting Walmart pre-orders. If you pre-order for them, you might want to go check it out. But there's a lot of theories about why this is currently happening. Some people believe that it's because payments aren't going through now that they're trying to charge ahead of their shipment. Then other people believe that it's because Walmart oversold their limited pre-order inventory. But here's my thing about all this. At the end of the day, if you were impacted by this problem, it truly doesn't matter why it happened. The fact that it happened at all, or is happening now, especially this close to release, is absolutely ridiculous. And the reason I say that is because, let's just hypothetically say that you got your pre-order in the first night the pre-orders went live. Well, then from that point forward, there's a good chance that that person believed that they had secured their order, so they were no longer looking elsewhere to get another pre-order in. And if they would have known about this well ahead of time, then, they would have probably had multiple chances elsewhere if they would have still been looking. So by Walmart not coming through for these people just so close to release really has put them back in their planning. Now, I will say, though, that if you were impacted, there are still opportunities to get a Switch 2 this week, so hope isn't lost quite yet. It might be difficult, but Target, GameStop, Best Buy, and even Walmart are offering in-store supply. Just make sure to be there bright and early, well ahead of your local store's opening. I'd recommend at least an hour early, get there, be in line, really, if not even earlier than that. But yeah, Walmart really dropped the ball in this, and I truly do feel for the customers that were impacted by this situation. Just absolutely ridiculous is all I can say here. Now, I do, however, have some good Nintendo news because we got another update for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. For whatever reason, they haven't been completely transparent about a lot of these free Switch 2 upgrades. I'd like to hear more about other games as well, but they finally gave us the detail that I think everybody was waiting for. Scarlet and Violet will now run at 60 FPS. They showed a brief moment of footage. It looks smooth, and that really is such a huge relief. It's kind of amusing that everybody is so thrilled about this if you think about it, because it's not like it looks amazing graphically or anything like that. Okay, it looks better than it did before, but the big thing here is that, it's just finally running the way a game is expected to. And we're all happy about that. But I also think that kind of shows you just how underwhelming this generation has been for the mainline Pokemon series, or at least from a performance standpoint. The games themselves are still fun if you can overlook those flaws, but the performance has, left a lot to be desired, and hopefully we can now put that into the past, starting with this free Pokemon Scarlet and Violet upgrade. Okay, so moving on here, let's go and talk about some game teasers. We have some big showcases this week, and I'm not saying that all of this will be announced this week, but these are games to keep an eye on. If not this week, at least in the coming months during the summer showcase season. And that starts with a game that's already been confirmed for this week, being 007 The First Light. Now, if you're unaware, this is IO Interactive's take on the 007 series, and I think this is an incredibly exciting pairing. IO Interactive has done amazing work with the Hitman series, and they can now translate some of that experience over to a completely different agent, being James Bond. Now, this is also a completely original origin story, hence the title of the game, The First Light. So we're not going to see a rehash of any of the previous stories. We're going to go back to the roots of James Bond. And again, I really like this idea. This will allow IO Interactive to tap into their creativity and to really cook something up themselves. Now, I will be interested to see fan reaction when it gets revealed, though, because the truth is that it's been a very long time since 007 has been a big name in the game industry. But for anybody who's my age or older, they know just how big this IP used to be in the gaming space. Of course, everybody always talks about GoldenEye, and it's often listed as one of the most influential games of all time, but even after that, there was a long period of just really good 007 games. In fact, my personal favorite is not GoldenEye. It's actually probably Nightfire for the GameCube. I have a lot of fond memories for the 007 GameCube games just in general, whether that be Everything or Nothing, and I believe it was Agent Under Fire. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. It's been a long time. I can't remember all the titles' names, but Nightfire, that was the one that truly connected with me. That was just an amazing game that really took that GoldenEye experience to the next level. And I'm excited to see this once legendary series, not just for movies, but also for gaming as well, to make its return under a legitimately good developer. So, yeah, I'm crossing my fingers that they'll deliver something special here. But I guess we're not gonna have to wait all that long. We will get its first reveal on June 6th at their very own IOI Interactive Showcase. Now, we're also hearing about another secret agent game, though this tease is being a little less forward. This comes from Ubisoft, and okay, I get it. Ubisoft has underperformed these past few years. We all know this, but they do have a couple games in development that I feel like it would be very difficult for them to mess up, or at least that's what I try to tell myself. And one of the games that I'm talking about is the Splinter Cell remake. They announced this game years ago, and out of the blue, they decided to drop this random post over on Twitter X. It doesn't really say too much, it kind of has like this eyeballs emoji type of thing, and a picture of Splinter Cell's Sam Fisher. Now, on most days, I just kind of chalk this up as a big nothing burger. But the fact that this is happening just ahead of the summer showcase season, well, that could indicate a more official reveal is inbound. Now, some people have pointed out that Ubisoft was not listed on the partner list for the Summer Game Fest, and okay, that is true. But you'll notice at the top, it does note that it's just the Round 1 partners. So that infographic doesn't immediately rule out a Ubisoft announcement. But however, Ubisoft does like to do their own showcases. In fact, they held last year's Ubisoft Forward in the month of June. So even if they don't show up at the Summer Game Fest, fret not, because they could have their own showcase as early as this month. Now, if they do, then an Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake could also be up for announcement. This has been in a rumor mill, I want to say, for a few years now. So I don't think its existence is going to shock a lot of people, but just like Splinter Cell, its announcement could be imminent. And the reason we believe this is because an Assassin's Creed statue maker, Pure Arts, seemingly let the news slip on their live stream. We can just read this awkward back and forth over on Insider Gaming. They said, Assassin's Creed fans out there, you should be aware that there is something going on with Edward, said one host, where he was then interrupted by the other host, asking him, wait, has that been announced? I think so. I'm pretty sure I saw rumors about it. No, I definitely saw an article about it, he continued. He later said, so there's going to be something going on with Edward, and our PVC 1/8 scale statue will reflect that accordingly, he finalized. So, yeah, that seems fairly revealing. It actually reminds me of Soul Reavers from last year. Its HD re-release leaked in a very similar fashion. A merchandise company revealed the HD logo before it was announced as some kind of event where they were showing off some statues. So, yeah, this just kind of leans into the Black Flag remake just that much more. Okay, now, one more thing before we go. We are going to shift gears here. Activision and Microsoft have found themselves in a bit of hot water regarding the Call of Duty series. Obviously, Microsoft paid a lot of money for Activision, so, to want to make as much money as they possibly can together to really cement that acquisition. But the way they're currently doing it, it's rubbing some consumers the wrong way. There's already been a lot of criticism about how Call of Duty handles its microtransactions. They tend to be very in your face, and, apparently, they found a new way to push that sentiment even more. This was posted over on Reddit, and it says, one of the unwelcome changes that I've noticed with Season 4 is that they've now inserted a new ad spot at the top of the list of your weapon-specific builds. So now, every time you toggle between weapon builds, you get to stare at ads for $20 to $30 skins. I'm sure the Activision developer who suggested this terrible feature is very proud of themselves, which, quite honestly, they probably are. And you can see the image above, and, okay, to be fair here, you can simply ignore this ad and you can move on, which is personally what I would probably do. But at the same time, my problem with these type of ads, and this goes for any game like it, really kind of comes down to the fact that they're treating a pay-to-play game as if it was free-to-play. These used to be ways to mainly monetize free-to-play games. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, though, is a AAA $70 title. Now, it is in Game Pass, to be fair. Got to find a way to monetize over on Game Pass, but I don't know. I've never been a big fan of microtransactions. See, I'm old enough to remember that when we used to buy games, it was mostly content complete. I know that's hard to believe in today's age, but that's the way it used to be. We used to go out and buy games, and they were kind of content complete. In today's world, though, sadly, that's just not the case anymore. That free-to-play model has become more popular even in pay-to-play games, as we're seeing here, and this is just the latest reality of that evolution, I'd say, for multiplayer games. Let me know what you all think about this, though. Does this type of business practice bother you, or do you think it's just no big deal? Anyways, though, that's going to be it this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.